Monday, February 8th, 2021 meeting for the Wilson Conservation Commission. And Amy, would you do the honors on, suppose we gotta have our speech.
Yep, February 8th. The town of Littleton began conducting remote participation Zoom meetings pursuant to Governor Baker's emergency order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law on March 19th, 2020. Since that time, unanticipated legal concerns relating to the open meeting law have been brought to our attention by the town clerk. Those concerns were supported by the Attorney General's office and confirmed by town council. In response to these concerns, the town will implement the following changes, which in no way prohibit any member of the public from participating in discussion and sharing information during a public meeting, and will ensure that all listeners and participants have equal access to that meeting. People that join the Zoom meeting are set so their microphones are muted. If you called in by phone, please use star 6 to mute or unmute your phone. So that the meeting can occur in an orderly fashion, we ask that people who join keep their microphones on mute so background noises do not interfere with the meeting. If you wish to participate in the meeting, please use the raise your hand function available on Zoom. Or if you called in by phone, dial star 9, which will activate the raise your hand function. The meeting host will notify the chairperson of the raised hands, and the chairperson will determine whether and when to allow public comment. When called upon, participants should unmute and state their name and address. After speaking, we request the participant return their microphone back to mute. Back to you.
Okay. Approve the minutes. We got two sets to approve, January 11th and January 25th. As we'll go with January 11th. Has anybody got admissions or corrections for January 11th? If not, can I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I move that we accept the minutes from January 11th as written.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, maybe if we do the next one, then we can just have one roll call vote for the whole business. January 25th, is there any omissions or corrections for January 25th? If not, can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
And can we have a roll call vote to include both January 11th and January 25th meetings to be approved?
Yeah, James, just as a point of order, I wasn't at the last meeting, so I can't vote on those minutes. So I don't know if you want to do two roll calls or not, or I can just vote separate. We can just go through and everybody just say which meeting they're voting on, I guess, or both.
So, Kyle Melberg, January 11th, January 25th, aye.
Sarah Seward, aye for January 11th and absent on the 25th.
And James Pickard.
James Pickard, voting on January 11th and January 25th. Aye.
Brian Crowley.
Brian Crowley, January 11th and January 25th. Aye.
Andrew Samarco.
Andrew Samarco, aye on both meetings.
Kyle Maxfield.
Kyle Maxfield, January 11th and January 25th. Aye.
Carried. Administrative discussion, you got anything, Amy?
No, nothing came in the last panicked minute. Anna's here, and I don't know if she has anything to add. There's someone did contact her about snow plowing over on, I think it was Cedar and Long Street, Long Road, Long Lake.
It's, yeah, it's Long Lake
Shore.
Lakeshore Drive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I called Chris Stoddard, and I went over there, and they are just plowing. They are not doing any snow disposal. So that's just snow plowing next to the lake. So
Yeah,
obviously,
it's right next to the lake. It's in that little strip, the town-owned strip, right?
right. So it's the entire length of it. I mean, they've nothing else they can do when they're plowing.
So what was a question I was going to add, James, to the discussion? Are there sites now that on some of these developments where we've been very cautious of where they can push the snow? Do we want to, at some point, maybe just divvy up and ask people to put it on their list to drive by just to make sure, just like we've got, Keolis, we've got the Point, we've got all these other places now that have designated snow areas. I don't know if Amy, if you ever have time to just give us a list and everybody can maybe just take one.
I came by the parking lot the other day and for kiosks, there's a station and there's only one car in the parking lot.
Right. But they still have areas they can't push snow.
Yeah.
And all the signs should be up.
Yeah, because I've been watching Distribution Center because they had been pushing right in. They have stopped doing that, I think. So I was swinging by there every now and then. Let me come up with a list and see what it looks like. I could probably just drive through on a nice day and take a quick look.
Okay.
How about down to the Amazon parking lot? I see they've partially taken down some of the building now. Is that all still going forward?
Oh yeah, yep. They're in the demo. We picked up a bunch of the guardrails and posts, like probably really $4,000 or something worth of what we would have had to buy otherwise.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's all buried under snow. Some of it's at Cloverdale and some is just over the cemetery as a stockpiling area.
Guess we have to thank some people for doing that.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, are we using those in the parking lots as guide rails?
No, I was going to use them for boardwalks.
Oh, gotcha.
And speaking of boardwalks, I'm having a meeting with actually Judy Reed's son tomorrow night about a potential for, you might be able to do the trail through town forest. And depending on how much he may or may not take on, that's going to take probably 2 boardwalks. So we could use some of the material there, or maybe the commission could, sponsor matching grant or something so he can raise money because lumber's gotten so expensive.
Has anyone walked through the town forest recently?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I have not. It's pretty wet, isn't it?
It is pretty wet. You can definitely get through.
Okay.
But
It's been a long time. I didn't know how overgrown it was.
it's not too bad. Like when you first get into it from Harwood.
Yep.
It's not too bad. There's a tree down in there. But it's not too bad getting through, especially by the time you get up to Durkee.
Okay.
So as you're heading, I guess actually as you're heading south, if you keep to the right next to those 2 houses, unfortunately, not right next to them, but near them.
Is any of that marked out so you'd know where you were going yet, or is that still something?
Yeah, I went back and forth with Rick and Jim, and we were talking about doing it, I think the weekend before last, I think it was. And that really bitter cold Saturday. I said, no, I'm not doing it Saturday. But they ended up going out and doing it anyway. And we already walked it partially. So it is flagged. And then we got all the snow. So once the snow melts, so we can get the scout lined up if he still wants to do it. I want to walk it with the Gills who bought the Pittarino property, since they both would be the abutter to the trail, as well as they said they might be interested in being land stewards. And there's that weird corner that we have to get through. Maybe talk to the select board because it's not really conservation land. And then he can do it this summer.
Well, what is it listed as anyway? It's a town forest, so is it all by itself is known as the town forest?
Yeah, I looked it up quite a while ago when I first started to see if it was actually on the state's list as a town forest in the hope that there might be money available somewhere for it. It's not recognized at the state level. I think the town just kind of calls it town forest.
I think it's just, it's selectmen controlled. land.
Yeah.
That's a
I'm not sure
perfect
there's any,
example of land that could be forested to bring it, to make it healthier as well. We looked at that a long, long time ago.
yeah, it's tough and it's really rocky too, as well as being wet. So it would be a tough one.
Yeah.
Not the Smith property, the Williams property, which has already been partially selectively cut.
Yep.
In another 10, 15 years might be worth another look at another section.
Yeah, probably pay to get that not the forestry group to look at. I mean, I suppose, go out. I know they would go out and make it marketable, tell you what you had to get rid, what you could cut. And
Oh, you mean to have Neff do it?
well, that's up to Matt.
No, Neff.
No, Neff,
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you end up paying for it. It's usually a service you have to pay for, but maybe you'd tie you couldn't tie in the Williams property. It's too far away from it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
The Brown property is right across the street, but we're not going to be doing any tree cutting at the Brown property because they did not want any tree cutting, or certainly not to the forestry level.
So Jim, you can go ahead and start your 745.
Okay, continued public hearing notice of intent, 83 Mill Road, U 3826O, Mass D, file number 204-927, replacement of a failed septic system. Can somebody fill me in as to whereabouts this is on what part of Mill Road?
Ted, you want to take it?
Is that somebody, me?
Yep.
Hi, good evening. Ted Doucette here representing the owner. Yeah, this is the last house on the right. So it's right up against the 495 corridor, and it's on the just on the corner of the cul-de-sac, like at 3 o'clock on the cul-de-sac. So last house on the right. So it's a failing septic system. The existing system is a undersized tank and a leach pit, which is in failure. If you're familiar with it, you drive out to the end of the cul-de-sac and the road, it kind of slopes off down to the road. I mean, down to the lake. We had the wetlands flagged, top of bank flagged, and actually I flagged it, and we were showing the offsets there on the plan. The resource area is top of bank. In this area, that's what we see a lot, is top of bank and no BVW. So the proposed replacement septic system is going to be a septic tank, pump chamber, up to 3 leaching trenches of a conventional design. So it'll be just stone and pipe trenches, 2-foot deep trenches. Due to the existing conditions where the pipe comes out of the building, goes into the existing septic tank, the proposed septic tank and proposed pump chamber have to be within the 50-foot no disturb. There is no basement. It's just a crawl space that is not very crawlable. So there's no way to switch the plumbing around. Also, maybe I should do a share screen. You guys ready for that?
Yep.
I can kind of point. I can point a little bit here. All right, can you see the plan? So if we're looking at the, here's Mill Road. Here's like I talked about, the cul-de-sac up here. Driveway coming down to 2-bedroom home here. The driveway kind of loops around, and then there's a parking area here. Existing, actually, I don't even have, looks like it's just oh no, anyway, there's a tank in this area and then a field in this area. That's right, that's what it is. So a tank and a field in this area. And then we're gonna just hook onto that existing line, put in a 1,500-gallon monolithic tank and a 1,000-gallon monolithic pump chamber up to the field here. This really is a miracle that we could get something in here, and it really is the only thing that we could do. You can see all this testing up here. We have 5 test holes in here, just because, the first couple times we went out there, we weren't, until we put pen to paper, we weren't really able to see if we had enough sand to meet the Title V requirements for naturally occurring pervious material. So we finally did a test last week, and that's why we were delayed and continued a couple times, because the health agent wanted to see some additional testing out there. And that was partially because of his current concern right here. We're in deep test hole 1. We didn't have full depth to put in anything of significance there. Over here, we just scraped a test hole just to confirm that there's ledge there. There is ledge at grade there, but we did try to dig in there also. So that's about it. Just a standard system up here. I did look to try to do something like a Presby or something like that, but it turns out that conventional gives you the most compact system. These are 2-foot trenches because there's no reserve area. You can have 4 feet between them, and it just gives you a very the highest amount of leaching space per footprint square foot. So, really should be, you know, I mean, it should be. There's no other options. So to me, should be approvable.
Was this a cottage or something at one point? If it's just so much of a crawl space under it?
Right. I mean, I think most of the stuff down there was a cottage, and this one, yeah, it's just a single floor, you know, with a crawl space.
So is someone living in it now and it's been recognized as a failed system?
Someone is living there now, and it's being transferred. It's going to be sold to the current resident, and I can put this back up if you want, but I think that just during the transfer, they just realized it's not going to pass. I don't think there was ever an inspection, but I mean, the tank's got to be almost in the groundwater, and the leach field doesn't have a 2-foot offset from groundwater.
Just for clarification, you go in by the Catholic Church, that end of Mill Road to go down and see it, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Sorry. Yeah. I was thinking that. I forgot Mill Road was, yeah, split. So yeah.
Ted,
This is about 2 houses down from the one we did a couple years ago.
are any trees coming out? Do you anticipate?
No major trees up in that area of the leach field. There's some small scrub. You know, they're the little maple trees that just are invasive. So it's just some scrub brush like that coming out. I mean, nothing greater than 4 inches in diameter.
And when was this flagged?
The top of bank was flagged November.
And I met Ted out there way back then, and it looked fine. It's pretty obvious.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned the Board of Health. Did you have approval from them now, or?
No, we don't have it yet. We have a hearing with them on Wednesday.
Ted,
But
can you
this
just
is-
put that back and do a screen share again, just so we can look at erosion controls?
Sure.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? I got the wrong screen up too. I did my nice color plan and I got the wrong one up there, right? There we go. Is that the plan? Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. So top of bank here, erosion controls all along here, along the property line. Here's your 50 and your 100.
So the trees that are filled out to the top of where it says pump, the tank and crush, are those getting removed?
These, no. As I said, no trees greater than 4 inches are removed. Those are larger trees. The only place where there's going to be tree removal up here is it's all, like I said, just that 4-inch, you know, and smaller diameter things.
So this will be a raised system?
The grade out there is not going to increase. I mean, it is raised because it is a pump, but there's going to be no obvious bump. Actually, we have to cut the grade down a little bit up here. Some of the grades are going to drop about a foot. But right now it slopes down and it'll still slope down. So it's no mound, but we are putting in a impervious barrier here to help with breakout, just so we don't have to fill down into this shed and approach the 50.
And so just to verify, we're not looking at any alterations to the structure of the house. So bedrooms, nothing changes, and the septic system's going to be the smallest one possible?
Yes, it's a 2-bedroom house and it's got a 2-bedroom septic system. And I was lucky to get in there enough room to fit in a 2-bedroom system.
Can you have a 1-bedroom in town system?
Yeah, probably if you get an existing 1-bedroom.
So Ted, in the future, there'll be no work on that house that's complete as you know. The only reason I'm asking, if they're gonna do anything, they should do it now.
I mean, I can't guarantee there's gonna be no work. If it's being sold, then what do you define as work? I mean, is somebody gonna come in there, remodel, and put a wall down, put a wall up? I don't know. They can't increase the bedrooms. And if they do anything outside of there, they're gonna have to file with you guys. So I'm working for the current owner. I haven't talked to the buyer about that.
So basically, you don't know whether it's gonna end up being a tear down or not replaced. They just got the septic system is what they.
Yeah, I'm honest with you. I don't know. I know I work for people who do that, and I've brought projects before you that. Right now, I've been hired to do a septic repair by the seller. And the buyer, I can't remember who lives over there. I'll think of it.
Amy,
But
that could be in the language of the order of conditions too, to remind them that the next owner, or when it changes hands legally, that if they're going to make any amendments, they have to come in.
Yeah, I can put that into the finding, and I had this discussion with Ted actually earlier today too.
Okay.
At least if they really do want to do a tear down and shift, they could shift up to the right, and the new system is not going to make them go more into the buffer zone. They're not creating a hardship by doing the system first.
So Ted, is it your wish to close this, or because you are still in front of the Board of Health? If you close it, you run the risk of.
Yeah, I guess we should. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably request to continue pending Board of Health, provided that there's not, provided that you guys are satisfied, and that you tell me that the next time we come in, next time it'll be, as long as there's no changes from Board of Health, it's going to be just close and approve.
What do the commissioners think about that? That way, in the meantime, you'll have a chance to go take a drive by if you wanted.
Yep, I agree.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right.
Okay, let the record reflect that we are requesting to continue to the next hearing.
Correct. You're granted. Good luck with Board of Health.
Okay, all set. See you in a couple
22nd.
weeks then. What?
Thank you.
Did you have something, Amy?
No, I just said February 22nd.
Okay, great. Thanks.
See you, Ted.
Well, you folks, if you're down in there, you may still see the foundation for the Reed's Ice House, which would be on your left as you're driving in just beyond the lake. It may be gone now, but there was a huge ice house down in there.
Down at the end where this house is?
No, it's right after you cross like the bridge and there's the pond. Be on your left-hand side. They had a huge ice house that was there for years. Many years ago.
Yeah, I wandered around in there for one of the owners a while back, and I don't remember seeing it, but I would have had my back to it probably as I was walking the shore.
It may have come out of there. Somebody built a house or something beyond it, but like I said, it was a huge ice house. I guess we open the public meeting for request for determination of applicability of 119 Tehadawon Road, U32, demolition of existing house. Guess that's yours, isn't it, Amy?
I actually forgot about it. Well, didn't forget about it, but Okay, so I think you all know where this is. This is for the demolition of, where's my cursor, of the Brown property at the southern end of Long Lake, of the house that's there.
Great.
Get some room here.
Kind of sets up on a rise, doesn't it?
Yep, right
Yeah,
on the corner.
Oxbow had done the delineation, so this is based on that. Actually, I think it was Mark Gallagher who gave me the topo and the delineation, but we didn't have it in CAD yet. But so these red bars is 100 feet, shows you the 100 feet from the wetlands, from the 3 wetlands in the area. So the house itself is outside the buffer zone. But certainly, by the time they get the erosion controls around the sides here, this tree here might have to come down, and this tree over here will probably have to come down. And then the rest of them, maybe some pruning. So,
Seeing the footprint where the old barn was?
yeah, that's going to stay as is. I think this part of it up here is pretty much concrete and sort of boring. This actually is a nice stone foundation that I think would be worth cleaning up. There's a ramp on this side, and if we even just get some stairs or put a fence around it or something, it'd just be an attractive historical feature that I think will stay. And there's various little foundations scattered throughout. Because this is actually going to be over $5,000, the town. Oh no, because it's considered construction. The grant is paying for this in its entirety. It is going to have to go out to solicitation, which just hasn't happened yet. But whoever is going to be doing it would also be able to chase at least some of the scrap metal that's sort of back in here, where the tank was. It got pulled. There's a tank inside that has to be pulled later. No asbestos. So it'll either be a regular demo with the foundation filled and loamed, or the fire department is also talking about using it as a training burn type area, which wouldn't happen until maybe March or April if we go that direction.
Wait, so they'll use it as a burn before demo?
Yes.
Interesting.
But I think some of the rules have changed. I know in some states they have to take off all the asbestos shingles. So
There's
they
none.
have to really almost kind of demolish it before they do it as a training.
She said there weren't any asbestos though, so
There's been an asbestos report. There's no asbestos. The site,
No, the shingles, the roof shingles.
they checked everything.
They would check that with everything
Okay.
else.
Is the house in deplorable condition or just?
I'd say pretty deplorable, especially when you go upstairs. Boy, it's a tiny house inside. If you go down into the basement, I was actually kind of hoping to be able to save the basement, but it's got a concrete border around the top of it, so it's really not going to look like much once the house is gone. But the original supporting structures in the basement are rotted out, and there's metal posts in there supporting the house and the post to get off of their footings a little bit. And there's cracks and stuff in the walls, and it hasn't been lived in for, I think, probably 2 years at this point.
Isn't there some question about what the fire department might be spraying and where is it going to end up?
Yeah, Julie asked about whether or not they were using, was it PFAS stuff? And they said, yeah, the department said they haven't used that in 20 years. So it'd just be water.
yeah, I had the same question. That's good.
I would think with this snow cover, it's probably a blessing to just get it done. If that's the case with the.
They're gonna have to wait till the snow's gone. They have to wait until the snow is gone, and if the fire department does it, so they can have full access.
Now, did you say the trees are coming down for access, for the demolition access?
Are already kind of disrupting the two driveways. So this road, this one, which I believe is a Norway maple, is probably going to have to go. And this one over here, which I believe is a really sad looking red maple, it's already split, would probably have to go also.
Oh, so it's for safety?
Yeah. And the rest of the trees around here, these are actually pretty far back. There's only one here. They told the fire department I really wanted to save. The rest of it's kind of sort of junk anyway, but they said they just keep it with trimming.
Now, are the driveways going to remain just for parking? Are people going to park there in order to access the property?
I really don't know. It's a really bad corner here. So we could use this one, at least as a, sort of a one-way move somehow, like you can come in and go out. And there's also the possibility that if the highway ever wants to straighten out this curb, or at least cut down this hill right there, so you can see when you're going around the corner, I'm going to want to make sure that gets written into the conservation restriction, but that's all down the road. And, I was thinking if this could be used to park 2 or 3 cars, is a possibility too. And a lot of possibility for, a kiosk, both for the climate adaptation piece of it, as well as the historical piece of it. So there's a lot to be done in here.
Is there a sidewalk planned for that side?
There's a sidewalk at the other end of Tehadawon planned. I have heard nothing about this side. Or no, maybe that was Harwood he was talking about. Yeah, it was Harwood, because I asked him, can you go down to the town forest? He said, no.
While you're pointing out things, where's the, that, can't think of the stuff you want to get rid of that,
Yeah, this Phragmites is down here. So, and it's mostly, I don't think, yeah, it's mostly cut off. It's, again, here's the house, and here's the Phragmites in here. You can see that kind of gray signature of it. The Shays, who own this property and own part of the Phragmites, are agreeable to discussing controlling the Phragmites on their property. It would be a lease. Town council said that shouldn't be a problem because it's to the benefit of the town to get rid of all of the Phragmites rather than get rid of our Phragmites and then just have theirs encroach on us. But again, waiting for town manager basically to look at the insurance levels, both of the survey and the Phragmites people and the demo people, to approve that so I can get the contracts written up. I kind of have the notice of intent drafted up. I'm just waiting for a contractor to get approved.
So is that where that wetland is across the street? It drains onto the Brown property. Is there a culvert right there?
There's a culvert here.
Further up.
Everything comes down from, this is town forest right here. So it comes across town forest. There's a big culvert right around here, goes through this wetland, under the road, and then down towards the beach.
What about further up on Tehadawon, where your arrow just was a minute ago? Yeah, up just a little further north. Yeah, right there.
There's a culvert over here, which must run through, and I guess there must be a culvert under this guy's driveway in there. This is a potential vernal pool, and actually there might even be a secondary pool in there. I had to take a look at it this spring.
I think there used to be a pond there or something at one point, maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily always dry up, although I can't believe there's any fish in there. So I'll just take a look at it this spring and see if there's anything in there to make it certifiable.
Anna, you might remember this. Isn't there an area that they used to have some old turtle crossing signs there?
Yeah, there's one right here.
Ah.
Those signs are indestructible. They're kind of yellow with a painted turtle, and they are bolted into the light poles. They are not coming down.
Yeah, I think when they try and do that burn or something or construction, we should be aware of timing on some of that.
Yeah, that's true.
So do we own that wetland across the street?
No, this is the Catalona, the tree farm, and they own most of this. Actually, you can see the property line right here. So they own all that.
People was in there someplace. He has a house that's way back in there. Might be this one.
Well, this is now the Horace Mann, which is sort of an educational residence house. So they own a little bit of the marsh, and
Mhm.
Catalano owns the rest of this. And I think even that might be privately held. But this is where I would love to get an osprey nesting platform.
Yes. Have you talked to Catalanato recently, or?
No, apparently she is, her husband died and she is in the process of selling it. Her son has no interest in it. The Conservation Trust has been talking to her,
Oh, good. All right.
but I'm not sure if anything's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Sort of sounds like she might not want to deal with it, but it would be great, except for the fact that you're going to kill yourself crossing this road to have a little sort of duck blind type thing over here on private property, though.
Yeah. That's why I was asking about the sidewalks, just to have people be able to look out over the wetland.
Yeah, well, Rick Finley has been trying to get a trail up here, up to the Prouty Woods.
Yes.
So the residents, the Horseman Association's been a little bit amenable to that, but it's never really gotten too far. And I'm not sure if we'd actually be on Horseman property or on Catalano property.
So it seems like I'm glad the trust is talking to Catalano. It definitely seems like it's in the best interest.
But also, I think taking advantage of that existing house site, now you're going to have a flat area that could be turned into an observation area instead of a parking lot.
Yeah, it would be like maybe 3 cars. I mean, it wouldn't be anything major if we decide to end up doing it. You also can't, those aren't our trees that we'd have to cut to have the view. Basically.
Well, not to have the view of anything in particular per se, but just to have a view of, the habitat and the swamp and all that sort of good stuff.
Yeah, you can probably see down this way.
Yeah.
A bit, but yeah. So yeah, a lot of possibilities. And so the trail, what's an AT&T easement kind of trail, sort of comes through here, ends up out here. And if we did the town forest, this is where the town forest sign is. And there's that little pull off there. So the town forest trail would come up, hug this property line, and then shoot off to the south. And if it ever happens, eventually wrap around to the Healy Corner property too, who we might see in March.
Yeah.
Coming together bit by bit, pieces.
I'm sorry?
I say it's coming together bit by bit, pieces.
Yeah, actually, you can see this a little bit better here.
I could tell you a little story about that corner. I used to plow that road and I almost got clipped coming around there head on one night. So
You can see people take it wide. There's a little bit of a hill here. So it's kind of a tough corner.
it is. But it looks where these cars are, there might be a possible area for a parking area of some sort. If you were to
Yeah, there's certainly room for a few. It's whether or not we want to direct people in and out of this driveway.
Yeah.
Because of the issues. I think it could be a one-way in, one-way out. You definitely don't want people coming out here. I don't like coming out here and turning left.
I like your idea of a one-way, kind of like in and out. So
Yeah, or
do
you have to
want
come in
take
this way or-
action on this?
This
Like,
is
do we need-
a request for determination of applicability. So I am asking for a negative determination of applicability.
Okay, someone want to make the motion?
I'll make a motion that the commission close the public hearing and issue a -3 determination for 119 Dehadawan Road, DEP file number.
No DEP.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, because it's a determination.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, did you say that you already had an NOI drafted for it though? What?
I have a notice of intent drafted for the Phragmites control, which is entirely separate. One doesn't depend on the other, so I'm just doing them. I'm doing something while I can get this demo out of the way.
Is it too early to do the Phragmites one too while we're at this? Or
Oh, I was hoping to get it lined up because they could have gone in and done done a mow before the snow fell. And I had assumed it would take at least a month to get through the commission. So obviously that's not going to happen. But
Okay.
we got to spend some of the grant money before June 30th, or we lose it. So. Yes, and then I also want to give the Historic Commission the time they deserve, which I can't get it officially get a building demo permit until we have the contractor lined up. So.
So Andrew, I think you made a motion. I think we still need a
Yep.
second and a
Need
roll
a
call.
second.
Second Andrew's motion.
I'm sorry, that was Kyle.
No, Kyle, yeah, so, roll call, Carl Melberg, aye. Sarah
Sarah
Stewart,
Seward, aye.
James Pickard,
James Pickett, aye.
Brian Crowley,
You're on mute, Brian.
Brian Crowley,
Can't hear you, Brian.
Do a thumbs up, Brian.
How's that?
There you go.
That
Brian
works.
Crowley, aye.
Andrew Smarco,
Andrew Samarco, aye.
Kyle Maxfield,
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Has everything else been continued on the agenda, Amy?
Yes, I'm actually working with Durkee Farms to get those stupid certificates of compliance cleaned up. The only other thing I wanted to mention is Chris Stoddard said that they might have access to a lot of grindings this summer, which are what were used for the parking lot at Oak Hill and Harvard Road, as well as on Cloverdale. And as he said, what's nice about those is if they get extra staff, they can plow those without digging up the gravel and stuff. So I don't know if anybody had any suggestions. Hartwell's a possibility, but Hartwell's in pretty good shape, that parking area. And the only one that I was thinking of was the Long Lake Park parking lot at Harwood, which I think can get kind of muddy sometimes, and having them be able to plow that might be good.
Yeah, that one, it can get muddy, and it keeps washing out where the lot meets the road. Like there's a big, huge pothole right now, which...
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So that actually might be a good one. And then the other thing I was thinking of was using it somehow for the Oak Hill Water Tower Road someday.
Well, sounds like you've been thinking about it.
Yeah, if I feel like I'm missing something, but if you think of anything where we could use those.
Do any of the ones we've already done, do they need to have a dressing up was added, to add a little more to them or anything? Would that be a reasonable thing to think about?
I want to go out and look
I'll
at.
check Frost Whitcomb because it does get kind of boggy in there a little bit too. Okay.
Is that Yap? Where's Frost Whitcomb?
Tehadawon. I mean, Harwood and Newtown,
Where the church is?
where the Chinese, the.
Okay,
Chinese-
that's what we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's what Andrew and I were talking about.
Okay.
The only one that could potentially use dressing up is maybe Yap, because that is gravel. So I don't know if they could, tone down that gravel. I'm going to take a look at it when the snow melts and see if, I'm not sure who's plowing that. Maybe Cal isn't. I don't know who's plowing it. But I want to see if the gravel's staying put or not.
What about any of the Mary Shepherd or any of those areas? Is that one that could use a little dressing up?
That one's in pretty good shape because, Highway used that for stockpiling for so long. So it's actually in pretty good shape.
I'm just trying to think of the other properties we have where we might have.
I just don't want to say, oh my God, we didn't even think of, but we obviously have months to worry about it. So
Who's is Hartwell?
Hartwell's a possibility. It's a big kind of grassy area. I've never really seen any issues in there with mud and stuff.
I couldn't remember what it was. So it is grass.
It'd be nice if we could get
Yeah,
out.
it is grass, and there's something nice about that it really does feel somewhat pastoral as you go in there, and it doesn't really get that muddy, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it does.
I think it's sandy soil under it.
Right.
Yeah, you probably.
I almost kind of want to leave that alone because it is so natural.
That's how I kind of felt about it. You can't plow it maybe as nicely as you might want to. but it's actually such a big place that people who drive in there have room to fool around and get out.
Yeah, I think the discussion's good though, because we all kind of drive around at some point. We can take a peek at some of these.
Is there anything over on Oak Hill, that parking area there, before you go up the hill? Does any of that need to be dressed up?
Yeah, I talked to Chris because that thing is a mess. And what I liked about that one is it's also not near any wetlands. And to get that a little more formalized would be great, but it would take a bit of work. There's some pretty steep, rocky slopes.
Well, it's ledgy, isn't it?
Yeah. But
What about the Newtown Hill parking area? Does that need any attention? Or is that all paved?
no, it's in pretty good shape. We're right at the garden there.
Yeah,
And I think Chris and I and someone from the water department are probably going to go take a look at the Oak Hill Road, hopefully this spring. Nobody wants to pay for it, so we'll see where it goes, but we don't even know what to do with it.
yeah.
Blasting.
That's gotta have some drainage or something addressed in that to catch some of the water flow.
Yeah, and that's the problem. So that's going to start taking down trees and making that a big, wide, even wider than it is thing. So it's a tough call.
Are we also thinking about trust access as well? Like when we think of Sarah Doublet and some of the others that may not be under our control, is that offer going to be extended to trust property parking lot?
I was going to keep it for myself while I can, and I'm not
I
sure
agree, and I hear you. I support that.
if we don't want it, the trust might be able to use it, but I don't think the highway they could dump it, but I don't think the highway could build it.
Right.
Level and stuff. So once we kick around ideas, we'll see, because I'm not sure they have any nasty parking lots either right now.
Right. We do have to remember, for those of you that have never worked with that product, you can have a lot of awkward byproduct in there, like glass and just debris from the road. So it's not pristine. So everybody has to remember that.
Yeah, because Jim O'Neill's first reaction was, well, can we use it in some of these trail crossings?
No.
That's a fill.
Yep.
Hey, Amy, do we have any control over these continued discussion items so they all don't come up on the same night?
Pretty much no. I think none of them are, well, the 911 Scott Road, they are moving ahead. They're using, I think, GPR. So it'll be a while before we see them back. Keolis, we're waiting for snow to melt. Healy Corner is the only big one. And I assume 107 Mattawanakee is going to be a discussion, but that's pushed off to April already. And the rest of them are as much to make sure these things don't fall off into Never Never Land.
Right.
Getting spoiled with these 45-minute meetings.
Don't get used to it.
I heard there was a report.
I talked to both Bruce Ringwald and Ted Doucette, and they both said they are slammed right now. So it's not like there's not stuff in the pipe.
What scares me a little bit is I heard a report on the news tonight, and they were showing this house in Lancaster, Mass. They had an open house, and they had cars parked, like 20 cars parked down the street to go to this open house. So they said that single family sales are just like crazy right now.
Mhm.
Such a seller's market.
Yes.
That I'm kind of worried about some of our developers.
Well, yeah, they're going to start looking at more marginal lands too. So
That's what I'm worried about.
yeah,
I'm particularly worried about that. Was it Crestview?
Mhm.
I'm really worried about that one because we don't, I think that could go another way.
Well, I know that, I just talked to a person just the other day who, they are selling them without inspections, home inspections. They're waiving home inspections in order to get the houses and paying in cash. So it's like really vicious. Yeah.
My son heard something on the news. Baker had sign an executive order that any properties within a half a mile of the transit, he wanted them to put up these townhouses or what have you, for housing for people,
Oh,
which had to be 50 units or more.
That actually could be a possibility. The, what's the one at the end of Foster? Gutierrez.
Oh,
Gutierrez is out of there.
Yeah,
He's up in-
that could get switched to housing
So-
of some sort.
So, does anybody understand what's going on with the housing right now? Is it because people are moving out of cities?
yep.
Yeah.
Is that what's going on?
That's what we've seen it in Maine as well. No, everyone's just getting out of the cities.
Yeah, I heard Maine, people who live in Maine can't afford anymore.
Right.
Oh, I think this Colbert scared people. They just want to have their own space.
With more people working from home, they want to have like a nice, house to work out of, and if they don't have to commute. So,
Right. Cool.
but your average little house is like $500,000 now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I'm ready to go.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I move that at 8:24 we adjourn this meeting. Anyone want to second that?
Come on, folks, speak up.
Andrew got it.
Andrew's
All
got
right. Yep.
All right,
All right.
roll call. Carl Melberg, aye.
Sarah Seward, aye.
James Pickard,
James Pickard, aye.
Brian Crowley,
Brian Crowley, aye.
Andrew Samarco,
Andrew Smarco, aye.
Kyle Maxfield.
Kyle Maxfield, aye.
Unanimous to adjourn.
Everyone be careful with the snow.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Good night.
Be safe.
All right.
See ya.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everyone.